Hey guys, welcome to day 66 and welcome to my journey. If for anybody that's new, I am trying to get to 90 days as a carnivore and very little bumps in the road. But of course, if you have not watched my previous videos, if you're new or you're considering carnivore, go back and start watching each of my days because I give you a rundown of how I feel, what I eat, things like that. I try to share even some not so um maybe even what you would consider maybe some embarrassing details. I really try to share everything I can with you guys, my deep dark devilish thoughts sometimes. So again, it's worth going back and going through if you're like on day 30 and you're like, well, how's day 31? How's day 32? Start looking ahead and watch a few of the videos ahead, and you can see where maybe I had some similar struggles or maybe something else popped up. But in any case, guys, thank you all so much for the continued support. Again, the new subscribers and just the continual growth of our little community here on Josh's Weight Loss Diary. So I really appreciate. Again, I love the support. I feel the support all the time with you guys, with all the comments, the love, everything. Um, so yeah, we're making good progress. Last week we did a full clean week of BBB and E, and it was good. It was fine. I got done, and I felt solid the whole week. Um, since then, it is now, what is it? Wednesday, yeah. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I've kind of ate dirty again. Went back to some creams and cheeses and stuff. Yesterday, I had half of a carnivore pizza. Today, half of a carnivore. The other half, I went ahead and just had leftovers. I don't like to waste food. So, but so far, like, how do I feel now that I've reintroduced cheeses and creamer and even a little garlic and stuff back in my life? Well, and a little hot sauce. I can say that the only difference I noticed is, like, I do have I don't see, I don't want this to sound bad because sometimes people will hear certain words and then they'll like blow it up into something big, but maybe like a teeny bit of belly swollen, like not really inflammation, not bloating, but just a little more feeling that belly. Um, but other than that, solid. Like I said, still feel good. I'm not really getting any aches and pains. So I'm not really noticing any inflammation in that. I haven't used the bathroom in a few days. So nothing is like rushing out, like, oh my God, coffee. Oh my God, you had cheese and cream again. Like, nothing is evacuating at this moment. No emergency exits. Um, so in fact, I got a cup of daily coffee right here, but it's really hot, so I can't. It's really hot. I just made it, and it's just a splash of cream in there, so it's not really cooling it down. And I can't drink like lava coffee. I've got to let it cool down a little bit, and then once it gets drinkable, I'll put the lid on, and then it'll keep it kind of at that temperature for a while. Um, but yeah, I don't really have a lot. So snack wise, I forgot to mention yesterday for snack, I did have two hard boiled eggs. And then today I had the last two of my hard boiled eggs. So I have a choice. This is where being a carnivore, preparation is key. So I could be lazy and I could just spend the rest of my time after this. I'll probably get done recording by 9 o'clock. I have an hour and a half before my next job. So do I go in and grab like a dozen eggs and throw them in the Instapot and do the hard, like basically the hard boiled eggs? Probably take me 20 minutes or so altogether, maybe a little more, whatever. But do I get prepped or do I be lazy and then I just wing it? Um, I don't know. We'll see. But the responsible person doing carnivore, you should say, hey, if you got a little time, go get prepped. I just ate my last 2 hard-boiled eggs for a snack today. So, and they come in really handy. Like I said, I took me a little thing of salt to work. I have it in my work truck now. So I just take the eggs, throw them in one of those little sandwich baggies, and take them to work. And like I peel them beforehand. So one time I forgot to peel the eggs before when I went to work. So I had to like sit out by the side of a road one time and just kind of like crack open the shells, peel them off, and then some of the shells were sticking to the wet egg, and I had to kind of like pick them off. And it's a lot easier to rinse them under the sink, like just deshell them and rinse them, and then shake off the excess water, throw them in a bag, and head out the door. So, but be prepped. It helps. I would say that it's a really good treat. It is like having the hard boiled eggs, and they seem to fill me up for my and you don't always have to eat them, but typically I will get that hunger around that 2 to 3 o'clock. Now, I do like to address some things. I know sometimes I repeat myself, but that's also because we get a lot of new followers and they don't always go back and watch my other videos where I talk about certain things. So sometimes I'll get tips from new followers on things that I did in earlier videos, or you can tell that they didn't watch my earlier videos because they'll maybe critique something that I've already addressed. But in any case, no worries. I like having the comments. I like having the critique. It's fine. So if I repeat myself, that's the reason why. But repeat myself again. It's important to, in my opinion, it's important to be prepared because, that's, we already made that point. What I'm going to say is, before I got derailed on my last train of thought, is morning hunger. So morning hunger can be important. For some reason, when I get up first thing in the morning, I sit up and I'm kind of sitting there and my stomach kind of rumbles a little bit, almost a little bit of hunger growl. But by the time I get dressed, by the time, everything happens in the morning, I really don't want to eat. And so I just don't really think about it much. And let me tell you the difference. So there's times when you just crave food or you really want food, like whether you want to call it a craving or a desire, it don't matter. But when you want something to eat, you're just like, God, I need to have something to eat. That's not like that in the morning. When I have those kind of hungers, it's like, first thing, and then it goes away pretty quick. By the time I get ready and all that stuff, I'm getting ready to go to work. It's like I just prep my eggs and get them in the bag, and I'm out the door, and I feel solid. I don't really have that hunger, so I don't stress about that. It's more toward the afternoon when I get to that 2 to 3 o'clock when I'm like, hey, I could really use a snack right now, and that's when the eggs come in handy. And then after that, till dinner, I'm good. And then when I have my dinner, it's almost like a 1 meal a day, but the eggs act as maybe a second meal, I guess you'd say, or first meal. But again, when I get to that, my bigger meal, then you just have to judge how hungry are you? Are you really hungry? Do you want a big dinner? Or do you just want to start out and say, you know what, I'm just going to eat this steak, and then if I need more, I'll make a few more eggs or grab some bacon, whatever. And having those bacon on hand really help. Just having that prep work on hand really helps. Also, I did want to address something as well is, I noticed that, my good buddy Rick across the pond, he's been trying to make like either sardine cakes, and it seems like he can't get canned wild caught salmon, which is really a shame. If you guys overseas in England, if you guys know of any wild caught salmon that's canned, and please go tell Rick where he can get it, because I think he's really loving the fish and like the sardines and mackerel, and I really think that throwing in some salmon every from time to time, he's going to enjoy that. But he made some sardine cakes, but he had a hard time keeping them together. So I did kind of give him some pointers in the comments for that, but I want to also pass it on to some of you guys too. If you don't remember my original sardine cake video, remember one thing that I do, like if you have one can, which is probably worth what, 3 or 4 tins of sardines, I don't know. But when I did the sardines, just a couple tins, it's just like one egg. Really, the more egg you start using, even though egg is kind of used to help bind things, it has to be in a combination typically. Most of the time in meatloaf, things like that, you will find an egg along with breadcrumbs. Well, carnivore and breadcrumbs don't get along. So you can substitute breadcrumbs with ground up pork rinds, okay, like pork crumbs. And they're not overly flavorful. They're not going to overpower the meat or anything. But get you some pork rinds. Find a brand that you just want to say pork skin, like pork skins and salt. And then if they give you extra information, were they fried in pork fat, things like that, or were they fried in like a canola oil or something? You know what I mean? If you can find out extra information like that, try to do that. But I use Max, and from what I understand, they are fried in lard, and they're just 2 ingredients: pork skins and salt. And you can get the flavored kind, all that. But I just get the basic ones, and I have like a standard KitchenAid food processor that's like, about this tall and about this round. And I just fill it to the top, and sometimes I even almost overfill it, and then I kind of hold the lid down and start grinding on medium speed and just get them all to those crumbs, and then I pulse it a few times just to try to get any of the harder crumbs. And but that's how I make my breadcrumbs, is through pork skin. And I'll put like, maybe half a cup. That's where you start playing it by ear. You might put in a quarter cup at first, mix it, and if it still seems too wet, add another quarter cup or something, and then get that sort of dough-like consistency, or like a meatloaf type consistency, and then make your patties, and then go ahead and fry them on the grill, and get that nice brown on both sides. Probably anywhere from 4 to 6 minutes per side. Just keep an eye on it, and they're great. But you definitely want to use, and of course you can put some other stuff in there, seasonings and whatnot. But I'm just talking about as far as the binding agents. Just like I said, the more egg you use, it's not going to hold. Because think about scrambled eggs. I mean, they just easily fall apart. You've got to have something else with the egg to really keep that together. Now, in some recipes, there's some things where you can do like Parmesan, like grated Parmesan. Sometimes like grated cheese can be a little bit of a binder. Like when I do my carnivore pizza crust. But in all honesty, the best thing to do is just do the pork rind crumbs for like fish cakes, whether it's salmon, sardines, mackerel, and of course, meatloaf stuff. So in any case, guys, that was like some tips of the day, I guess, in that sense. And that's about it, guys. I mean, everything's been going good. And tomorrow will be day 67. God, I cannot believe 23 days left to hit my goal. But I still have a long time. I mean, I'm not going to just up and leave. And we'll go from there. All right, guys. Thank you all so much. And we will see you day 67.